Hello, friends, and welcome back to Summit EU coverage. We're here with Game 2 of the day, and I'm joined by Mr. LD himself. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
Look who the cat dragged in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I may or may not have set 3 alarms and slept through them all, and apparently Roland and Andrew were banging on my door, yelling,
I
cursing.
I did a good, just like, David, 5 minutes, and no response. And I had that inner dialogue of, do I walk into his room and just shake the bed, or is that not okay? And I wasn't really sure, so I just said, well,
I can be very angry when I'm cranky, and but yeah. Anyway, sorry for missing game 1, but thanks for Baseskip for standing in, of course. And,
yeah, he is. He's
I
a
am
trooper.
here. I am here.
Yeah, big
I'm
shout
here.
out to Baseskip.
I'm awake. I'm awake. I swear.
He's awake. He's alive. So up next, we've got Fnatic versus Virtus.pro, and Fnatic are now 3-0 in the group stage, and Virtus.pro are 0-3, I believe. So the inverse of one another. And
yeah, Fnatic have just looked dominant as well. They've just been blowing teams up, and they took care of business with Dog pretty quickly. Well, the draft is underway now, so we'll go ahead and hop on into it. It is, as you mentioned, Fnatic versus VP, but for anyone who doesn't know, the ticket bundle is available now in the store. $10, $250 of which goes directly towards the prize pool. Comes with the Harbinger of the Moon axe set, as well as a custom load screen, and you get to support the teams and grow the prize pool. So definitely consider that. Check it out if you're interested. And we've still got most of the online stage to go. None of the regions are complete, so it got into the store at just the right time. But yeah, things are heating up in Europe. We only have 2 more days of group stage action, including today, but it's like a solid 12 games to go, and then we've got the playoffs as well. 4 teams, double elimination, all best of 3, grand finals best of 5. So lots of European Dota still coming your way, but yeah, like you said, Andrew, Fnatic are just they're 3-0, they're in cruise control, and well, might be a new patch, but it's same old Fnatic, Tiny Wisp.
Yep, it sure is. And the last game we saw a Lycan and an Invoker on the side of Team Dog, but they were still not really able to push too easily. They took down one tower, and Fnatic just got the best of them with superior teamfight presence, and No Tail's Disruptor in particular was pretty potent last game. Of course, that won't really come into play too much here. He'll be on the Wisp. Will be Era on Tiny once again. Virtus.pro, though, they switched things up a bit. They locked down their supports with their first 2 picks, and it is a first pick Dazzle, then they do second pick the Earth Shaker. Interesting.
Well, the big change to Earthshaker in this patch is that you can't use Fissure to block the creeps in crazy ways. If they get blocked, they just stand there and chill.
Yeah.
They no longer try to path around Fissure. And a very minor change, I say, Echo Slam no longer ignores units that are invisible or in Fog of War. I mean, sometimes it could be a significant deal, but generally you're not picking Earthshaker to hit like a 5-hero epic Echo Slam. Like, that's why everyone loves the hero, but that's not why you pick him. So it is interesting to see him still getting picked. I felt that was a pretty significant nerf to Earthshaker, the no longer being allowed to path around Fissure, but he's still a very long-range, strong defensive support, and if you want to run Shadow Fiend mid against all these aggressive tower divers, then Earthshaker is one of the better heroes in the laning stage to keep him alive.
Yeah, and another interesting standout here is that Invoker has been completely ignored, not picked or banned by either side, and Invoker's in a weird place right now because his Quas Wex is what got nerfed. But we've seen almost exclusively Exort Invokers over the past 2.5 weeks or so. We've seen a little bit of Quas Wex here and there, but it's been almost all Exort. So I'm a little surprised to see him ignored. But Bristleback, now the 4th pick for Virtus.pro. This is an interesting draft. Rather tanky, but interesting.
Bristleback. Hex no longer disables Bristleback in this patch, and
okay.
Warpath is the same at all stacks. It used to be that the first stack gave you a little bit of bonus stack, I guess.
Okay, and now he moves faster from Warpath as well.
Yeah, like the first stack is no longer better, but each stack gives you more overall. So, like, you would start off getting 5, 7, 10 the first time that you trigger Warpath, so your first spell that you cast. So you get a lot out of like the first quills, but then you only get 1, 2, 3% depending on what level Warpath is. Now you get 3, 4, 5% at every level. So that is actually, in theory, a pretty significant buff that only applies to the move speed, however. So we'll see. It's going to be a very fast Bristleback, basically, is what I'm expecting.
Yeah, he'll be speedy, but is that enough to deal with the other issues that Bristleback has where he needs a little bit of early farm? And it just seems like the last few times I've seen Bristleback, especially in 6.8, he's just kind of farmed a little bit, gotten ganked once or twice, and then just kind of fallen off in the mid-game, and that's it. He really hasn't been too impressive. But to be fair, I've only seen him in a few matches. Teams have not been picking Bristleback very much.
Yeah, the one other thing, I guess, which makes heroes like Bristleback stronger is the changes to Pipe, which to me, got a pretty significant buff. The main reason being is that it now gives your team an HP aura.
Yep.
So it's kind of like a miniature mechanism, I guess, for HP regen to nearby allies. You don't get the huge heal active. Also, you cannot purge off the pipe magic block. So, pipe in this game, pretty good, I would say. Tiny Wisp Puck, that's a ton of magical burst damage. So, maybe a slight indirect buff to Bristleback, but pipe is an item that takes a while to farm, and even if you're having a good game. So, we'll see.
Yep. Centaur, the final ban for Fnatic, and I have a feeling Virtus Pro want to put Bristle in the off lane, and they'll be looking for a carry to pair with the Dazzle and Earthshaker. I guess they could have done a tri-lane with the Centaur, but would have been a little funky. VP will ban out the Shadow Demon with their final ban here. It would have been okay for Fnatic. They do need another support. Tree has also been banned out. That was one they ran last game. Trying to think what else. But what if Fnatic like to run for Fly? Rubik could be an option.
And sometimes they'll try and run the junglers. Like here's like Enigma. I don't know if they'll try and do it this game. Chen. Well, he don't. No, normally if it's a Chen, it's No Tail playing it though. So
yeah.
Enigma's the main one that we'll see on Fly occasionally. Outside of that, he has played some Visage here or there. Yeah. Again, normally No Tail handles it. I think just some sort of safe support, like a Rubik, isn't too bad here.
Yeah. Rubik's what comes to mind for me as well.
Just like you want a well-rounded, give you a little bit of lockdown, a hero that doesn't need that much farm and can just be a decent counter ganker and general presence on the map in the early laning stage. If they want, they could go. I guess there's like a Abaddon for more defensive support, but the new Lich.
The Lich.
Oh
yes.
boy,
we'll see some frost armor on structures. We'll see. Probably not unlimited bounces on that Chain Frost, but
you never know.
You never know. We were hoping for that Lion yesterday. Hani almost made all of my dreams come true, but
then the game ended.
Yeah, they dominated a little bit too hard. Right as he got the Ag Scepter, they tapped out. So
it's one of those times where I bet even Hani was like, "Man,
we should have gone easier on him, guys. We could have made Reddit headlines." Oh, but Lich is interesting, and I am pumped up to see him here. I mean. Frost Armor on structures sounds like a really big deal. I played one game on the new patch last night, and I actually did play Lich, but my team got wrecked. It was not a very good game. So the Frost Armor on structures didn't really have a big impact. Be excited to see how it works here, though. Now, Virtus Pro, they could either tri-lane with the Bristleback or put him in the off lane, and that means, of course, they'll need either an off laner or a carry. If they want to put him in a tri-lane, they could grab something like a Clockwork. Maybe not the best Clockwork game, though. Unfortunate that they have already secured their supports. Two decent supports, but Disruptor just works so well against Wisp.
Yeah, Disruptor is pretty good here. I'm actually a little surprised they banned the Shadow Demon, but... oh, never mind. I guess they have the Earthshaker and Dazzle, so... Yeah, I'm still waking up a bit. Darkseer will be the choice. Big AoE combo from VP... This is an AoE team fight lineup. So let's see. Offlane Darkseer. We have seen Darkseer's feed against Tiny Wisp before. So yeah, it should be a good matchup fairly early on. You can pressure the Tiny a bit, just spamming the Ion Shell. And Wisp at level 1 especially is not that scary. We may see some shenanigans from VP. Maybe we've seen teams like just go for First Bloods on the lane. And in fact, if you remember the Fnatic match yesterday, they got First Blood in the Tiny Wisp lane. Just didn't matter. They just came back immediately, still took over the game, and won with ease. So, yeah, the Darkseer does okay at the early levels, but it's more in the mid-game where he really struggles. Not even mid-game, like the middle of the laning stage, once they hit level 3 to 5 or so.
Yeah. Now, Virtus Pro, they'll have to hit a mid-game stride here because they're pretty light on carry power. They've basically just got this Shadow Fiend, kind of a, not quite a single-core lineup, but a single-carry lineup. And Tiny should be able to, at the very least, give a Shadow Fiend a run for his money, if not, just completely out-carry him in the late game. So that makes me wonder, will this be like a Hand of Midas, more greedy Shadow Fiend to try to get an edge over the Tiny early on, or will he just go for a fast BKB and more of a mid-game oriented build, and then look to kind of death ball around and punish Fnatic?
So they're sending the... Yeah, Shadow Fiend's not going to out-carry Tiny on his own. That's Tiny Wisp definitely will out-carry him. It's just, do they have the mid-game, like BKB, just team fight combo? Is the main question.
Yep.
They're actually running Bristleback offlane. I thought they just run him as their safe lane farmer, but they'll run Smile. They'll run Smile in the safe lane on the Darkseer, and they'll be up against Trixie 1v1. Safe lane Darkseer is not too shabby. You can't really creep skip the tower, but you can just push the lane and go farm your own jungle. And Trixie is not warding off the woods at all. So Darkseer should have access to his own woods.
Smile is Arzart, by the way. Just so we're all perfectly clear. I just checked the profile. That is Arzart.
Yeah, that's one of his alternate.
That's one of his alternate names. Oh,
yeah.
okay. All right. Well, you're a step ahead of me then, man.
Okay, let's introduce our teams. We've got Illidan as the offlane Bristleback. Jadam will be playing the Earthshaker. Looks like he's chilling near the Ancients, just protecting them for now. Something that Bristleback does use very effectively early on. In the top lane, we'll have NS on the Dazzle. Uh-oh, No-Tail's been fissure blocked. This could actually be the first blood, potentially. Where's the tether out? Uh-oh, that was sloppy from No-Tail.
Yeah.
A great fissure from Jadam as well. It's also just, you almost always have someone for the Wisp to tether to, but Arrow is blocking the wave because they're dual laning mid, and just wasn't in position to tether out.
Yep. So, God on the Shadow Fiend, and then down here in the bottom it will be Arzart, a.k.a. Smile, playing on the Darkseer. Let's take a look at this Fnatic lineup, and we do have Trixie in the off lane, playing a bit of Mirana here, down bottom. Fly on the Lich, did start in the bottom lane, now just cruising around the bottom rune position. We see a little ward battle going on here as God seems to get the better of it.
Yeah, top lane, Hani, he did just barely jumps out in the nick of time. Wait until the last possible second, but yeah, Ancient's very important for VP. Shadow Fiend is okay at farming them, but Bristleback is the main hero that can bring them down early, and well, they're not going to give that offlane Bristle easy access to them.
No-Tail on the Wisp, and of course he'll be paired with Era's Tiny, a duo lane in the mid. Fly now rotating up towards the top lane to join his buddy Hani, who will be playing on the solo safe lane Puck.
So the one thing about safe lane Darkseer is, one of Darkseer's biggest strengths in the offlane is he can dive you with Ion Shells onto the tower, but you can't really do that in the safe lane because there's just not much room to dive. Like, the area between these two towers is very small. The enemy heroes have a much safer path to back out, so mainly he'll just be focusing on farming, and unless Trixie gets over-aggressive, I don't think we'll see any potential kill here.
No, probably not.
Free farm on the Darkseer. The dual lane and the offlane for VP, actually pretty scary. Lich, Puck, just kind of a war of attrition lane, not much kill power there, but this Bristleback Dazzle lane can go very hard and potentially set up a lot of kills.
Yeah. Definitely kill potential with this duo, but not really until the later levels. Dazzle will need at least 2 points of the Poison Touch. He may opt for that aggressive 2-0-1 build at level 3. We'll see him initiate onto No-Tail, but this time there's a tether available. He'll hop back to the mid, and NS will run his way back towards the top lane.
No-Tail has already started stacking the woods. He has a double stack up here. Generally, when teams run Wisp as a support on the Dire side, they'll break these trees, and they'll just pull both camps. You can pull this one at 53, this one at 55. Hasn't done it yet, but may look to do so in a little bit. He did want to check the rune there, so yeah, he only goes for the one.
A wrap around in the mid lane. NS stationed about the high ground. I think he may just be looking for the courier here.
Yeah, he is, and Wisp, no money for the bottle. Normally the one who gets it right away. Era, sometimes you see teams will get 2 bottles with Tiny Wisp, though it's not as common, but yeah. The fact that they get the first blood of No-Tail actually hurts their courier snipe attempt here, because he won't have money for a bottle just yet. Now he's stacking Ancients, though, and, well, Fnatic, they know how to run Tiny Wisp. Even if you get shut down a bit in the lane stage, you give up first blood. Second time in a row they've done it in 2 Tiny Wisp games that I've seen, but it's not going to matter. They're still going to get their farm on unless VP just continue to apply pressure throughout the game.
Yeah. And Era is farming decently well in the mid lane. 16-6, almost our last hit leader. He's at least on point with this Bristleback Illidan, who has had a pretty easy time up here in the top lane. The really underwhelming farmers, it's Hani that stands out. He's still in the single digits. He'll go up to 10 CS now, but he is not having an easy time in this top lane. We'll grab some creep kills under the tower, which is nice, but won't be a fast blink on this Fairy Dragon by any means.
Yeah, he's forced to CS under tower, and does have a no talisman. His damage is not terrible by any means, but yeah, you're going to miss a couple extra CS here or there when you're forced to CS there. They are still farming well on the Tiny, though, end of the day.
Yeah, and that's really what's important. So only 1 kill on the board. A pretty quiet early game here, just about to hit that 4-minute mark, and it will be a race for the bottom rune. Who will grab it? God. He will luck out. It's a regeneration, throws it right in the bottle, and he'll waddle his way back towards the mid lane. Shadow Fiend with only 13 CS under his belt. He is actually struggling a little bit in farm as well, just on Brown Boots bottle and a couple of GG branches.
Yeah, so this Earthshaker pick really hasn't done much this game. Like, you used to be able to fissure block and just pull the creeps on the Ancients. You can fissure block and just draw the creep equilibrium back towards you, but so far, he's just mostly kind of wandered around and somewhat supported mid early on, tried to control the Ancients. They still got warded up in the end, and we'll see what it does in the mid game, but the thing with Earthshaker as a support is he just doesn't shut down. Like, he can't, for example, harass a a Mirana really at all, or any sort of offlaner really. So
yeah.
I mean, is the Earthshaker pick a good choice? Well, we'll have to see. So far, I feel like it hasn't done much.
Yeah, definitely not. They haven't been able to stack Ancients. Those initial sentries have expired, so it is available now. But
was Sand King banned this game?
No, I don't believe so.
Because, like, if you're just going to kind of be off in the jungle stacking and farming, then I'd much rather have Sand King. The thing is, he can actually clear the stacks easily, but mid lane, they've gone in.
Yep, Avalanche toss forward, but it's a creep, not the Wisp that I think Arrow was hoping for. And God will survive, just sips up that bottle, and he'll be okay for now. Ooh, Courier up top, does have a bottle on it for the puck. Flies over the tree line, and there's the orb over. NS does have a point in the grave. Won't need to burn it quite yet, though. Bristleback joining the party. These are very low armor heroes up here.
And now mid lane, there was a dive. The Fissure comes out. Ooh. There's no follow-up, though, and Arrow will end up getting the kill. Tiny Wisp going deep. They're looking for more. No Tail tanking the tower shots, though. He's very low. Arrow's very low. Somebody's dying here. They pop the Moonlight Shadow. Arrow will retreat. No Fissure available.
Yeah, JOTM gets credit for that one. It's a 1-for-1 in the mid lane, but...
Courier? Courier? Is Arrow really going for this? He's got to hit it 3 times to kill it. And he has power treads. I don't see it happening, but he might find the Earthshaker. John's walked right into him. Toss. Avalanche. Ooh. Arrow with an easy kill. Can he make it out?
Ends up being a 2-for-1 for now. 3 heroes converging onto the Tiny.
What was that vacuum? That did not
poison and tether from No Tail. He's still on the low ground, though. I think that's a good thing. Wisp-Ball's coming in. He throws God to the low ground. Grave has come out. Era now will survive. And Trixie joining the party. I think God will fall to the Wisp. No Tail finishes him off. Actually, Mirana is the one that gets the credit for that kill.
What a great toss from Era. Back into the river. Very aggressive. Now he's found Smile. Toss. Avalanche. Another kill by the Tiny on the backside of the fight. Comes back in. Making the plays.
Wow. Era, he lucks out a little bit there. 3-0-1, just a couple of hit points to spare. No Tail will help charge him up here as JOTM looking for the snipe with the Fissure. He won't find it. Mirana comes in to zone him out. Well done by Fnatic. It started as just a 1-for-1, but they come out way ahead at the end.
Dual lane Tiny Wisp mid. They give up first blood on the Wisp, and it's the second time in a row where we see them run this Tiny Wisp combo, and they give up first blood, and they're still owning within 5 minutes. Era's level 7 in a dual lane mid. He is 3-0-1, tied for highest level in the game. That shouldn't happen.
And No Tail's the highest level support. All the other supports in this game are level 4. He's sitting level 5, more than halfway through it, and not too far off 6. So, yeah, a lot of experience getting changed there, and that means Relocate will be on the field pretty early on.
Yeah, just fantastic tidy play. Tossing him into the river there was really heads up. We'll see a toss in mid, but... So the Earthshaker pick designed just to kind of protect the Shadow Fiend, but again, it's like, I feel you can do a similar thing with Sand King and also... just farm a lot easier. They have some stacks in the jungle. Sure, Bristleback and Shadow Fiend can use them, but Earthshaker is not... Nowadays, it's just so hard to get your Blink Dagger. I mean, yeah, you can rush it, but compared to Sandgate, it's just not a competition.
Yeah. He just can't farm as quickly. The Sandstorm is a completely different ballgame.
It's a game changer.
Farming tools. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
Fnatic are finding quite a few creeps in the woods right now. They have a big stack for Ara and No Tail. They just cleaned up, I think it was a triple stack here at the big camp, and now they're looking to go back in.
Yep, they have a double sack with some Mud Golems there as well. Vanguard now up on the Bristleback, and we'll actually see NS win the ward battle here. Era, he gets blocked by the Fissure, but the follow-up won't be there. Virtus Pro just using it to retreat. I like the way this Fissure looks as well. It's a pretty cool cosmetic.
Oh, is that a custom animation for it?
Looks like it, unless they updated his textures. He's got a He's got a pretty sweet Earthshaker set here. He's got a legendary totem of deep magma. So
that sounds cool, but
that's EG Pro Gear. Get wrecked, LD. You're jealous.
I'm still all aboard the Demolishing King train, man. Still have that MLG hype. Nothing will beat the Landom Demolishing King.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool set as well.
You can look pretty, but his got the job done.
Up top, Virtus Pro pressuring this tier 1 tower pretty hard. Fly is the lone defender right now. He is level 6, so he does have Chain Frost coming up, but not enough mana. There's the Relocate right onto Illidan. The combo comes out. Dream Coil from Puck. The Grave will keep Illidan alive as Fly gets enough mana to throw the Chain Frost. Yep, Illidan will just get finished off as the Grave expires, and Dazzle, he gets finished off around the backside by Tony. So 2-0, going the way of Fnatic. Nice little gank in the top lane.
Yeah, and these lanes just aren't working out for VP so far. You run the Shadow Fiend mid, you pick an Earthshaker support. Arrow is going to connect on G mid lane. In comes Trixie. He does not actually have his enough mana for Starfall. Can he right-click him down? Needs one more right-click, 2 more maybe. With the bottle charges, he'll need even more than that. Now they can turn around on Arrow. He's already used the leap as well. Or, sorry, not on Arrow, on Trixie. And one more raise. Nails it. Nice turnaround by VP. Something they desperately needed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tani's coming here as well.
There's a time where that Earthshaker was in the right place at the right time, and that fissure helped turn things around. NS will get initiated upon, does throw out a Poison Touch. It is level 3, going that very aggressive Dazzle build. But Hani wins the right-click war and will be forced out. Doesn't have enough damage to finish off NS quite yet. That makes it 3-6 here as we pass the 10-minute mark. And looking at the graphs, Fnatic with a very small gold lead, but about a 2,000 experience lead, which is pretty significant for this stage in the game. Era is still number 1 on the net worth chart by a decent margin. Power treads straight into Drum of Endurance. His farm is not looking too bad. Number 2 on net worth is actually the Darkseer on Virtus Pro, and he has a mech just about complete, just about 1 gold until he has enough for the recipe. So this Darkseer has actually found a lot of farm this game.
They want to go on him top. Relocate's ready, and here they go.
And Illidan. Is there anywhere for him to go? Doesn't have a TP up for 10 seconds, so even if he gets away, he still won't be able to TP home. No Tail taking heavy damage. That's that low armor Wisp. He just can't stand against the Bristleback. Dazzle TP's up, throws out the Grave, buys Illidan some time. That's a few more quills he can get off before he goes down. That'll be a kill. Nope, that was a phase shift from Hani there. And yeah, we'll just end up being a 2-for-1 exchange. They lose their Wisp, but Hani getting pretty low right there. The weave from Dazzle making those quills hurt that much more.
Yeah, Bristleback is generally only good if he can stay alive in fights. And Fnatic just have so much burst damage. Jadam is smoked up. He's heading directly towards top. Not sure what he's going for, but his smoke will wear off now. And mid lane, just some harassment. They did drop a Darkseer wall, couldn't get the kill. Now the Earthshaker comes back mid, but Jadam was painting top like there was an objective there. And there was no heroes low, nobody really nearby. And while this was all going on, Trixie got some space bottom, takes out the tier 1. So Fnatic gets some map control, and you don't want to give up map control against Tiny Wisp. Every tower you lose is just more room for them to dive you and go for kills.
Yeah, and Tiny is already 5-0-3. He has been involved in every single kill that Fnatic have put onto the board. So not surprised to see Fnatic getting a little bit more map control. Fly now level 8. He has that first point. And Ice Armor LD. We're going to get to see it before too long here, and maybe in just a moment as Virtus Pro gear up for a push on that top tower. There it is! 6.81 at its finest. Look at all these white
creeps.
That's
so ridiculous. It works on units, too.
And, of course, while I'm admiring that, Tiny loses his mega kill streak. Shadow Fiend will finish him off in the mid.
Got Fissure now the top lane. Dazzle throws out Grave. Illidan looking to dive here. Won't commit. And the rotation will come from No-Tail as well. He's level 7. He's got a double damager in bottled. And as soon as Tiny respawns, they may look to set up some kills. Big things for Fnatic at this point are basically just keep on stacking, farm the stacks when you can, and get the blink on Puck. And, well, No-Tail could get caught here. Fissure, one more raise, they get the No-Tail kill. That is a really important kill.
Yeah, this is actually a 5-man rotation from Virtus Pro headed to this top lane. There will be a TP in from the Tiny. And right now, Trixie is in the bottom lane. He's TPing home, actually. Moonlight Shadow. Did it just fly?
Yeah, it was already used as worn off now, and they're still going in.
Tower falls, and that's it. No contest from Fnatic. Now they're just in retreat mode.
They need this. They need the Puck Blink Dagger, and Fnatic are a team that just want to be. I don't think they want to go in here, but they're going to try for it. They do have Chain Frost online. Can they hit the combo? Relocate from the backside. The Chain Frost comes splashing through. Leap in from Mirana. They'll bring down one. The Shadow Fiend ultimate gets the single kill. G is in trouble, though. Falling low. He'll pop the Death Requiem. They will get the kill in the end, but Bristleback at full HP, and Fnatic giving up the Tiny kill here most likely. This is not worth it if he dies, and I don't see how Era makes it out. He tries to turn around, goes for the Avalanche Toss. He does get another kill. NS has to be careful here. One more right click, they get the kill. No-Tail now hunting with the orbs. He does have a tether out available in 8 seconds. Is that going to be in time, though? Arrow from downtown. Nicely juked. Illidan still chasing, looking for the goo. Can't get it off, but the Dazzle runs back into Mirana's Starfall range. Will get picked off, and it might end up being a team wipe here. VP just not having the burst.
Hani back in the party. Now Illidan, he's low on mana, turns the back, trying to make the escape. Illusory Orb will be off the mark, and this is where that movement speed buff we were talking about in the draft starts to come in handy. Arrow will fly by his head, but unfortunately won't connect. Now JOTM rejoining the party, connects with Fly and Hani. That slows him up, and now Virtus Pro, they've got reinforcements coming in as well. This is a huge exchange in the top lane, but it may peter out here as Fnatic are on the back foot. Virtus Pro, I'm not even sure who really came out ahead. VP got the top tier 1 tower. Were any buybacks used? No, those were all just natural respawns.
No buybacks. I would say a pretty even trade, just in terms of the fact that Tiny died. At the same time, though, he still has 2 components of Ags at 14 minutes, so not quite as one-sided as their last Tiny Wisp game that we saw in the Summit, but, I mean, it's still pretty damn good for the Tiny. And G might get caught out here. There is a Puck wrapping around from the backside. They have a Sentry Ward.
And he is invisible, so God has no idea Dream Coil is available here as well. They open with the Dream Coil. There's the Silence. Orb connects. Trixie throws the Star Storm. Doesn't get that lucky second star, and he'll be forced to burn the Moonlight Shadow as God finishes him off. Oh! Almost getting a double kill as Honey does phase shift at the last second.
While that was going on, there was a dive mid from Fnatic. Era's still looking for a kill here. He drops the toss. Tries to... No, just the Avalanche to start. Now the Wisp tethering back the other direction, but being chased down by Illidan. He'll get the kill on one. He'll look for another here on Fly, and it could be 3 heroes dead, including the Mirana. Actually a big win for VP. This Bristleback is being a bit underestimated by Fnatic. Like, when they were able to focus him in teamfights earlier, they were doing great, but going back to the big teamfight top, I still don't... It worked out okay for Fnatic, I think mostly because VP just overextended, but they could have gotten the tiny kill, gotten the tower, and backed. They chose to chase for the Wisp, and that allowed some heroes to respawn and turn the fight. So, I think Fnatic just want to chill a little bit. Get the eggs up on Era, get your Blink Dagger up on Puck, and then look to fight, which Blink Dagger is coming soon. Hani almost has it.
Yeah, Tier 1 tower in the mid lane falls in favor of Virtus Pro. And how close is Tiny? Yeah, not far off. Just about 700, like you mentioned. So, won't be too long. And how many towers standing? Just one. So the total tower count right now is actually dead even. Both teams have taken out 2 towers. And looking at the gold graph, minor lead for Virtus Pro, about 500 in their favor. And Fnatic hanging on to a very small experience edge as well. There's your Blink Dagger out on Puck. And Trixie's Mirana starting to hit a little bit harder. Phase Boots, Drums, and Aquila already up with another 1,200 to go. I imagine Manta will be his next item of choice.
So Fnatic's whole draft is mostly just built on finding pickoffs. They have obviously very good late game, but their mid game is just about Moonlight Shadow, Blink Dagger, Puck initiations, and then relocate follow-up. Just basically ganking Dota. VP, much more 5-man focus. We talked about the power of them getting an early mech, early BKB on Shadow Fiend. That's really where their team's strength is. But what's going to slow it down is G went back for a Drums first on the Shadow Fiend. Just felt like he needed a little bit extra punch in the early to mid-game fights. Still, until he gets BKB, sure, they can grave him and keep him alive for a few extra seconds, but he can still be chain stunned during that time, brought very low instantly, and potentially picked off if Dazzle's not ready. So VP need to get the BKB on Shadow Fiend, and after that, they should be looking to just group up, force some fights. Their late game is definitely not bad, but you do not want to go late game against Tiny Wisp on the dire side in Fnatic's hands. That is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, and we haven't mentioned that dire side advantage. Roche has not been a factor in this game quite yet, but 17 minutes in, it's right around that time when teams will start to get interested. And right now there's actually a big lack of ward coverage for the Radiant side. They've got 1 ward down, and it's smack dab in the middle of the dire jungle. Not a bad place for a ward to be at this stage, but doesn't give you much intel around the Roche pit.
And here comes some Ancients for Fnatic, so they'll clean up a triple stack here and let the farm commence. Hani is wrapping her on top, though. He's looking for a dive. Hasn't found an opening yet, but this is basically what you'll see from Fnatic. Tiny Wisp just off farming, and then Puck, as well as Mirana looking for kills, and then they relocate in if they find one.
Now Hani's coming in as he sees the Earthshaker. More TPs coming. God, as well as someone with the longest TP EU. Yeah, that'll be NS. Joining the battle, and Fnatic will just dude, that was like a 6-second TP channel right there. That was ridiculous.
Yeah. Where's that teamwork at?
Oh, relocate bottom. Yeah, that's where the teamwork's at, LD. Illidan more than in trouble as he gets dropped. The Tiny Wisp combo. That's a dominating streak ended, and 550 gold in the purse of Tiny.
Only the Wisp going back mid. They will leave the Tiny bottom. So he'll push out the lane. They don't have a tier 1 top anymore, so they're fine to let VP trade, and BKB is coming soon on G. VP will have a pretty scary mid-game, but they want to get the BKB and the Bristleback as well. Up against Tiny, not only do you have all the nuke damage to deal with, you also have Craggy exterior to worry about. And Bristleback, he does a ton of damage with Quills, but people underestimate his right-click potential from Warpath a little bit, I think. And potentially can go ham on Tiny, like now. Once Tiny gets 1 or 2 items, then he won't be able to. But with a BKB on their 2 cores, that will be the window for VP to really force the fights. Yes. And they are coming pretty soon.
Yeah. And yeah. Other item pickups, double drums out for Fnatic, 1 on the Mirana and 1 on the Tiny. And Mirana with a Mithril Hammer. Could be straight into a Desolator if Trixie wants to be a hard-hitting right-clicker, or it could just be a BKB. BKB's
Desso's pretty good for sneaking the Roche, and BKB...
Not so great.
There's not that many stuns. Like, there's some nuke damage, but he shouldn't be getting caught or picked off unless VP hits some sort of crazy, like, you know, triple raise, fissure, vacuum wall thing on him. But then they were using a bunch of Mirana, so I think he should just go for more damage.
Yeah, I agree. I really like the Desolator on Mirana. And in this this game, not a huge amount of armor on the Radiant side, especially the Bristle, Earth Spirit, Jesus, Earthshaker, and Dazzle. Very low armor targets right now. And the mech on Darkseer does help things out a little bit, but I think the Desolator is still well worth it. Blink Dagger is also up on the DS, and he is level 11. They smoke at the top lane, just as Shadow Fiend gets his BKB, a ride for the Courier. So Virtus Pro, they are in fighting shape. And oh, Trixie, speak of the devil, he chucks an arrow, does hit AA, but it doesn't matter. He'll get smacked by a fissure, gets the poison touch, and I think he'll tick down to poison if they don't find him.
She has been money with his raises.
Yep. Easy
nice,
raise.
Very nice kill, Mirana. Can they transition into a tower is the big question, and will there be a trade is the other question, because if there's not, then it's still okay for Fnatic. Mirana dies, but she's mostly here for Moonlight Shadow and arrows. Tiny will do all the damage in the world late game. So, we'll see. It's hard to push with this Frost Armor on towers. What level is it, actually? It is level 3 already.
Yeah. It looks like Lich will be going for either a mech or a pipe. He's got himself the headdress. Probably just a mech, pretty standard Lich build. But, yeah.
He is pretty squishy, though. Like,
no
he may not get off the mech at a good time in these fights, but we'll see. No Ags.
Tiny just going straight into Salt Karas, though. He's pretty close, just needs that plate mail, and not too far off the money. Has 600 gold in savings. And since he got this branch, that net worth gap between him and Shadow Fiend has been growing so much.
That is quite a big tree to be calling it a branch.
The branch, yeah.
That is a club, a chopping stick.
It's a log. And Smile, he's going to get logged in the mid lane. Oh, man. We should get some logger tiny cosmetics. Actually, there are no tiny cosmetics yet.
There's just the one, the elemental rare ice infusion that came out like end of 2012 and was broken for a while. But they're diving G now mid.
Yep, there's an avalanche. He'll pop the BKB before he gets tossed, trying to throw some return damage out onto Era. Channels the Requiem, but he still gets tossed out. Oh, man, well done by Era to toss the BKB Shadow Fiend, but it may cost No Tail. He'll tether to the Lich. And he TP's home. Everyone survives. Well played.
Those plays. There was no tether available. It was on cooldown, and they couldn't tether relocate out because of that. So, had he not done that, they might have had a chance to kill the Tiny. There was like 6 seconds with no tether. You can't relocate him out because the tether would already been broken, and that could have been game-changing. If they kill the Tiny there, he didn't have buyback either. They might have been able to take a tier 2 mid, maybe even go directly into Roche. So, great thinking and just understanding the hero from Era. Toss does go through Magic Community, will just interrupt channeling spells, and one of the lesser known facts about the hero.
But you have to do the it's all about positioning. It looks easy to pull off in a situation like that, but
to be fair with SF, he'll be standing next to you with Requiem, and
that's a good point. SF wants to be as close to you as possible to maximize damage. So,
Arrow does hit NS here. Uh-oh, is he going to make it out?
Definitely not. There's an avalanche combo from Tiny. Earthshaker actually gets dropped in the mix. Now it's a 5v3 on the field. Virtus Pro in retreat mode. Darkseer with a vacuum. Buys him some time, but just not enough. He'll get silenced. No surge for you. It's a 3-0. Fly trying to port out. He survives. Illidan with the BKB on. He's in trouble now. He's got no TP scroll. And Bristleback actually pauses. Well done, Illidan.
Well, it wouldn't matter anyway. Whether he pauses or not, he's dead. No TP scroll.
Yeah.
6 stick charges, but
I'm
not sure why the Earthshaker ran in there. He ran right into Tiny Wisp. Arrow connected. Maybe he thought there was nobody else backing up the arrow. They didn't have any ward vision, particularly didn't really see it coming. Oh, barely escaping is the Shadow Fiend. Trixie almost runs him down, but yeah, Earthshaker should have been staying back there. This Earthshaker pick to me has just been quite underwhelming in this game. He's had a few decent fissures, but top lane, dive on the G.
And he'll pop the BKB. Era, he's just going to try and branch him down. He will lose his Wisp. In comes support. JOTM with a fissure. Dazzle coming in as well. There's an Echo Slam. Era will pay for his greed. That ends his dominating streak. Now G gets that bonus gold, and they deny the tower.
Arrow on NS. It's a long-range arrow on the backside. They've caught up the Dazzle here. Can they bring him down with Trixie? Yes, they can. Trixie still finds the trade, but well worth it for VP. Killing off the Tiny. Desperately needed after how that bottom engage went. Still, I think he has Assault Caress already. Yeah, in fact, he does. Already the completed AC. Mirana goes Maelstrom, so not a Desolator this game.
Still damage-based, but
it helps. I guess the other line of thinking is just that you can push out the lanes, which helps you find pickoffs with Relocate. So it's not a bad choice. The other thing is you can throw Mjolnir on the Tiny, which is really strong. So I think Desolator would have been a solid choice too, but I mostly like the fact he's not going BKB because I don't think it would do anything for him this game.
Yeah, both Desolator and Maelstrom, very damage-based items, obviously kind of glass cannon-y, but they have different strengths, and both of them work well here. Eul's Scepter up on the puck now, and there is also a Blink Dagger on the Earthshaker, so that is one of the problems with this hero. It takes him a while to get that core farm going on, but he's got Arcane Boots, Blink, level 11. That means a level 2 dunk. And Earthshaker is ready to fight. Finally, he's online, and
if this was a Sand King, I'm just saying he would have had his Blink Dagger like 10+ minutes ago.
Yeah.
That's the big thing for me. Sand King's just so good as a jungling Blink, like, counter-initiating support that... And he does a lot more damage in this stage of the game generally than Earthshaker, so... I don't know. I love Earthshaker. He's one of my favorite supports, but it's... And he's done a decent job considering, but I just don't know if you can justify picking that hero over Sand King right now.
Yeah. And now Virtus Pro, they will do a 5-man push to this bottom tier 1 tower. Lich Armor was on it, but didn't really seem to make too much of a difference. They're pressuring the mid tier 2, and yeah, Fnatic will get the better of that trade. Only one outer tower remaining for Virtus Pro, which is the top tier 2.
That's the thing, is Fnatic just have so many options. Like, if they don't feel they can take a team fight or they don't want to risk it, they just go take a tier 2 instead. So, tier 1 in the offlane for Fnatic for a tier 2 mid, that is a great trade for Fnatic. And now they have their mech. They're in position to go Roche if they want to with the AC. There is an Observer Ward spotting the Tiny moving towards the pit. VP could win a big Roche fight. They have a Blink Dagger and Darkseer, level 2 wall. Tiny illusions are very scary. And they've got also BKBs on their cores. The Bristleback, the Shadow Fiend, and the Blink on Earthshaker. So I think VP can take a Roche fight now, but it's only if they get a good combo off. And that is tough to do considering that Fnatic have very mobile heroes, and they also will have most likely the terrain advantage coming towards the pit.
Yeah, now this is a pretty big stack here. I see at least 2 dragons, 1 set of lizards, and some granite golems, so it's at least a 4 stack. And yeah, there's this many ancients, it starts to play with your eyes a little bit. But regardless, Era will branch them down, or log them down, as it were.
How many handfuls of gold? Too many handfuls of gold. Yeah, it's like, you know, it's 4 or 5, it's whatever. It's 4 digits of gold.
Some ridiculous amount of gold that Tiny picked up in about 5 seconds.
He goes Mask of Death. They already have a Vlad's up on No Tail.
Mask of Death. The morbid mask.
Oh yeah, so I'm still stuck in my Warcraft 3 ways. But yeah, that's a pretty bad.
Wait, I forgot that's what it was called in Warcraft 3.
Jeez. Oh yeah,
I forgot about that. Yeah,
I thought you were just making fun of me for being old.
No, I thought you were just being. I thought that was Sleepy LD coming out. I do remember that the old Morbid Mask. The little title was just the fattest loot. I always thought that was fun. I remember that part.
Arrow. Oh. Are they really going to fight with the Aegis up right now? I do not think this is a very high percentage fight for VP. They want to be fighting in their base, but they're going to go for it. Here we go.
And they hop forward. Oh, a big dunk to start things off. Honey and Trixie just destroyed.
I'll eat my words. That was amazing.
Boy, that was
Jesus.
That was the Dota god saying, you know what, LD, you need to be smacked back down with that.
But they are breaking high ground here. They'll kill off the Bristleback potentially. Will be forced to BKB for sure. And Fnatic will go for a bit of a trade. Already the Bristleback's out of the fight. They're going to be fighting 4v5. Puck is bought back. They can relocate mid, and now they've got the numbers advantage here.
Yeah, they'll see Tiny just go straight for the Shadow Fiend. Meanwhile, on the backside, the Chain Frost has already flown. NS standing his ground against Hani. Will be able to get off the grave. He'll try to TP home, but that's not happening. Eul's Scepter will stop it, and he will fall. Now, Era chasing down God.
And No Tail bottom lane just barely made it out in the nick of time, and like you're saying, Era going ham.
There you go. He'll catch him finally. Avalanche toss combo. And Fnatic will find the better of that trade, kind of. Puck had to buy back for it, but now buyback situation for Shadow Fiend, negative. Dazzle has one, but...
Another death for Mirana, but again, she's mostly here just to throw her Mjolnir buff on Tiny and maybe shoot some arrows and press Moonlight Shadow, so... End of the day, Tiny's not dying. Tiny still has Aegis, and he's a clubbing.
Yeah, he certainly is. Still an epic dunk in the mid lane, though. Always fun to see those Earthshakers get off some Echo Slam, Base, and Tremble. We'll see initiation here in the mid. Nope, Era, he finishes off the tower. Glyph has already been popped, and he's still just going hard on these structures. He wants the melee racks. Just look how fast he kills it. The damage output is ridiculous. Illidan, he gets caught in a combo.
They have no Echo Slam right now, and they don't have the Shadow Fiend buyback. Without these two things, I just don't think VP can fight.
Yeah, they can't hold the base. And now will they rotate down bottom? They have another 10 seconds till Shadow Fiend comes up. They cut the wave, and yeah, Era just goes straight for it. This tower's already low from earlier. Now he'll move into this second lane of racks. Melee Taking damage. Arrow flies through.
Woo!
Misses everyone, but close calls all around. Shadow Fiend's now back up, but it's just too little too late. Moonlight Shadow has already been deployed. Is that a relocate forward? Oh, wow.
A little ballsy from No-Tail. He may give up his life here. No, nice mech. They'll toss the Wisp out. Oh, that bromance from Era. As well as No-Tail.
Dazzle will buy back. No-Tail, he gets relocated back. He's now on the run. Illidan, BKB on, trying to chase him down. Era around the other side, trying to finish off the Shadow Fiend, doing a lot of damage as Mirana's joining the party. Dazzle falls, so does the support Earthshaker. Now, God, no BKB available. He's got an Eos on, but that won't save him. Mirana gets tossed forward. Now Arzard, he's one of the lone defenders here. He'll finally get finished off. Illidan, he's still alive, but he gets hit by a stun, and it doesn't matter. GG, well played, and Fnatic. They
4-0
dominate.
In dominant fashion, yeah, that's the perfect word for it. That Shadow Fiend got a Requiem on the Tiny, and the Tiny still got 2 kills on the backlines with the 50% damage reduction that comes from Requiem of Souls.
He was just too
And
big.
he didn't have Wisp with him. He was still killing people on the backline.
Dude,
like Fnatic, even when people were banning Wisp at DreamHack Bucharest, they were still picking Tiny. They would go for like a Hani Ogre Magi mid or something, but
that was game one earlier today. That was
freaking Tony.
There was a Tony without Wisp in their first game against Dog, and it still worked just fine.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
They're not afraid to run it without the Wisp, that's for sure. 14-3-9 on Era's Tiny that game. Absolutely impressive. And again, I like to go back to No-Tail gave up first blood. That was a pretty bad start for the Tiny Wisp combo, and they just know how to play it so well.
It's just like those heroes I mentioned earlier. They just give you options. Like, sure, if you're losing the lanes, just rat it up. Like, go for the split push. You can relocate gank towers. You can just farm stacks. You can stack the regular jungle or the ancients, and you can split push as well. If you're winning the game, you can just go for aggressive ganks. You can tower dive. You can just start farming heroes. So many ways to play the combo. And they really took that. I think the fight that really sealed the deal for them was that fight where they were pushing bottom with Tiny and Wisp. VP got the 2 kills mid, right, with the vacuum Echo Slam, but then Tiny Wisp forced the Bristleback to TP back, and then the Bristleback sitting there, useless. They relocate back in mid, and they're able to just drive VP off. They didn't even lose their 2-2 tower and just turn the game from there. Just so many options when you have Tiny Wisp.
Absolutely. So coming up next, guys, we will have Fnatic versus
PR.
PR, yeah, the Power Rangers begins. So get to start the gauntlet of Power Rangers coming up next. They'll have their work cut out for them. Of course, you're watching the Summit EU. I'm Zyori. This is LD. Our ticket bundle is now available. The patch is out, and go pick yourself up the Summit bundle. You'll get a beautiful axe set, Harbinger of the Moon axe, and you'll get a load screen. It's $10, and 2.5 of every 10 goes directly into the prize pool. So help us make the Summit an even bigger, better event with the grand finals culminating in sunny Los Angeles.
And earn real money.
Earn real money, yes. And, of course, it is powered by Twitch TV. Big shout-out to those guys. We'll have a short break here, guys, and coming up next, Fnatic versus Power Rangers.